So until then, hold on, I'm going to be pulling some stuff up so that we can until then, hold on, check sounds and humana. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Okay, I'll put those ones at the end. And that way I can double check comments as we go. It's hard for me to double check comments on YouTube as we go. I might be able to pull that up on my phone. I don't know. But anyways, no one's on yet. So it's just you and me. But it is recording. So we will make a real quick announcement for everyone who's not watching us live yet and just watching us in the, in the app. Oh, a couple people show up. Anyways, Betsy's house flooded along with half of Grantsville. She was telling me a terror story right before we come on. We'll have her repeat it. The one about the people on Old Lincoln Highway. But anyway, so we had good rain. We needed it, but
we've been praying for rain, and I kept saying, if we just get a good hard rain, my backyard would wake up and green up, and we could use it as a green space. And so we decided to go camping. And normally when I plan anything, it rains.
That ain't no
so
that is no joke right there.
So when it rained, when we were up at the campsite, I mean, it wasn't anything to write home about. It was, it rained. So I was like, oh yeah, it always rains whenever I plan anything.
Yeah. A matter of fact, when Cox came out and said, I need to ask everyone to pray for rain, he should have just called you personally and said, Betsy, we need you.
I need you to plan a big event.
This is Betsy. If I could get you to just knock out a camping trip every other weekend, we would be living in a tropical rainforest.
Yes.
I shit you not. It'd be ridiculous because Betsy, if she planned something, I remember her wedding up the canyon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my finest suit, the only one I had, and hanging tarps from trees because there was no secondary plan.
It would not stop either.
And it dumped on us. It was awful.
Yeah. So I got a phone call from my neighbor across the street, and she doesn't get excited about things. She was just like, hey, do you want me to check on your house? We've had some flooding in the neighborhood. And so I said, well, my niece Tasia's on the way over there, so I'll just have her check. I didn't think it was a big deal. I mean, she didn't seem excited. I should have known. And Tasia called me and said, it's flooding, it's flooding, it's flooding. And it filled, I guess it really rained because it filled our window wells to the top. And they've got drainage built into the bottom of them, but it filled them all the way to the top. And the pressure from all of that broke the windows in. And then the subsequent water that was just full of rocks and mud. I mean, we've got boulders that are, 10 inches wide that just rolled into the basement through those open windows and sludge like nobody's business down there. But I just heard that my basement is unfinished, thank the Lord. But my neighbors on Lincoln Highway, which are just around the corner from us, they've got a big horse field behind them. It's a piece of property where people keep their horses. Apparently, their basement is full of horse shit. So, and they finished their basement. I'm not kidding you. She was so excited 3 weeks ago. They just put all the trim up and screwed in all the light covers and hung up the drapes 3 weeks ago. And we put off finishing our basement because the lumber prices were so extravagant this year. So it worked out great for us, but we're going to have to bucket out, 10 yards of dirt out of our basement.
Good news is you got a lot of brothers. So we'll all show up with our shovels and our buckets and we'll get this sorted out. So anyways, we still got 2 minutes before the show officially starts, but I don't know. We can just kick it off early. Just say, welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome.
Today's show was supposed to be about an alien attack that happened down in South America.
Yeah, Corrales Island.
Yeah. So we're going to hold off on that one because Betsy couldn't be here. She's down in her basement and they're, doing some, oh crap moments. So we're going to just kind of cover the news. And there is some weird news, some kind of applicable to this show news, and some news that is just not applicable, but noteworthy, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but I think it has been a pretty interesting week. Maybe we can kick off with John MacAfee. And so John MacAfee, he's the inventor and the guy who made the MacAfee antivirus, that antivirus that everyone used to get back in the late 80s, early 90s, or whenever, back, in the Stone Ages. And he was kind of the first antivirus writer. And well, anyways, we should do a show on him sometime just because he is an interesting dude.
Just, who he is. He was running for president at one point.
Yeah, he ran for president in the Libertarian Party in 2012.
He was accused of murdering his neighbors.
Yeah, he was making bath salts. He was living in Bahamas, I think.
One of the islands.
And he was making bath salts. And some dispute with the neighbor and dogs and everything else. So he was accused of killing his neighbor. And then most recently, he went on the run on a yacht, him and his wife. And it's a pretty wild story. He would have videos pop up every once in a while of him, barreling across the ocean on this yacht, him and his wife both holding shotguns, saying the government will never come get us and everything else. And he has definitely lived his life to the fullest. He's gone out of his way to live his best life.
Yeah.
Then he got picked
up in Spain, right?
Yeah, in Spain. He was in the Catalina part of Spain, which is Catalina is a semi-independent part of Spain. It's a interesting one. It's part of Spain, kind of shunned by Spain, but they kind of want to be independent and want to be away from Spain, but they're still considered Spanish territory. And he was held in Catalina. He was being held for tax evasion, for not paying Uncle Sam what Uncle Sam wanted him to pay. And so he, apparently yesterday morning, he was found dead in his cell, looked like a suicide in the cell. But he had come out prior to that, making a lot of statements that he's not going to do any of that. He's not going to commit suicide. And that if he is found dead, it is an Epstein job, which Epstein, that's another interesting one. The follow up on that, we should probably do. But it looks like the guards in Epstein's jail or whatever were supposed to check on him once every hour. They neglected to do that. They were shopping for motorcycles and furniture online and falsifying paperwork. They have scored, I think it's 103 or 150 hours of community service. We're getting some feedback off your phone, Betsy. Is your speaker on?
Yeah. Is that better?
Maybe. Yeah, for now it is.
I moved it away from the other devices in here.
That'd be a good idea. That way everyone doesn't have to hear me twice. It's bad enough once. But anyway, so Epstein's jailers. Oh, we're still getting the feedback. What other devices you got in there? Anyways, Epstein's jailers, they Well, they're getting some community service for neglecting their duties, which he died. So we still don't know what happened to McAfee on his thing. We'll come to find out, but maybe there is a conspiracy there because, in a way I hope not, because I'd hope to think we have honest government, but in a way I hope so because it makes life a little entertaining. Maybe that's the wrong way to think about it, but I don't know. But he did say he had a dead man switch, that if he died, a whole bunch of information would be released onto the world with a whole bunch of secrets from the evil everyone. So what else do you know about Mr. McAfee?
Well, one interesting piece was the last post. Let me see if this.
No sound yet. Okay. I hear something. Try talking, Betsy. All right.
How about now?
Yep, that's good. Okay. The last post. Go on. Can you hear me? Again, welcome to the WoW Pod, guys. This is how our shows normally go, with us trying to defeat technology and losing soundly. Okay, something's going on. I don't know. Anyways, so keep hearing Betsy making a lot of sounds. Can you hear me at all? She cannot hear me. She just needs to ditch that headpiece, that earpiece. Yeah, we're not hearing her. We're hearing you a little bit, but you're delayed, and you can't hear me. Yes, this is how it goes, folks. This is what happens. Anyways, so to carry on, there's a story right now from MSN. The widow of John McAfee, she's demanding a thorough investigation of his death, saying that her husband did not appear suicidal when they last spoke. And so Janice McAfee, so she's speaking with journalists, and she has a lawyer there, so we'll have to see what is going on with that. All right.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. All right. So his wife's in there. But yeah, let's not beat John McAfee to death too much, because the show will quickly get boring.
Yeah, I believe that we'll eventually find out that it was another Epstein issue. His last post, interestingly enough, was just a picture of the letter Q.
Yeah, and maybe he was just trying to be a shit poster on the way out, Maybe.
Did he know he was on the way out? I mean, he did say that he'd been receiving threats.
Okay, but let's go with he committed suicide. Well, maybe he had a whole plan. Maybe he was, getting stuff together to do it, to post the Q. He was like 75 years old. Yeah, I think he was in his 70s. Looked great for 70. That guy had a skincare routine to beat all. But anyways, yeah, he and I think his wife was an ex sex worker. So he laid it up. He didn't mess around. But anyways, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to play that out. But either way, that is kind of the conspiracy side of that. But I have different news coming out. Okay. I'm reading this off MSN as well. UFO report is expected to arrive on Hill on Friday. A highly anticipated UFO report prepared by the U.S. intelligence community is expected to be presented to congressional committees on Friday, according to U.S. official. But officials have told ABC News the report will not provide definitive explanations for the dozens of encounters reported by the U.S. military with unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. Huh? So
I
that's,
wish they would just come out and say that there are aliens, but my guess is that they're going to come out and say that the advancements of technology have afforded us the opportunity to run into, on a dozen occasions, things that we cannot identify because we don't have that same platform of technology.
that's today, Betsy.
I know. I wish they would just say, "Yeah, they're aliens."
And in a development certain to disappoint UFO enthusiasts who have hoped that the report may have found links to alien spacecraft, the report has not found any evidence to suggest any links to such theories, according to 3 officials. Now, here's the big questions. Okay, so they're going to come out and say, "Yeah, I had nothing to see here, folks. Someone taped a piece of rice to a fishing line in off the nose of the aircraft, and that's what the camera was seeing." But which would be scarier? If aliens were visiting us, or um, if maybe a foreign country had technology, or even our government had technology that could perform the maneuvers that these aerial phenomena perform.
Hands down, be scarier if humans had it.
I think so too. You heard about what's going on in the Black Sea right now. Great Britain cruised a warship in. Russia fired warning shots, bombed warning shots, bombed warning droppings. I don't know how you say that word. Anyways, Russia did some warning shots, threatened them, and then said that nuclear retaliation is on the table if Great Britain continues to incur into the Black Sea. And this is all an argument over Crimea, complicated subject. What's the truth? Don't know, don't care. I think it's all a shit show. I gotta stop cursing on the show. Anyway, I think it's all a crap show. But anyways, so that's, I mean, are we stumbling into World War III and we don't even know it?
Well, did you see that the Navy released their footage of that bomb they tested off of the coast of Florida?
I did not.
It actually created a 3.9 magnitude earthquake on land. It's insane. It was detonated underwater, and it is absolutely spectacular, the amount of water displacement that took place from that. They released the footage. Now, lots of people had, released the footage, but it was, not officially released from the Navy until just last week.
All right. So I've got the video pulled up. We're going to silence it real quick and get through the obvious advertisement for melanoma that it has on there. I don't know. For some reason, there has to be either way. Okay. Let me know if this shares everyone.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay.
This explosion at sea is called a shock trial.
Oh.
The Navy's setting off a 10,000-pound bomb under the water
Make sure a ship... Did you see how it kind of lifted the water there for a second?
At sea is called a shock trial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like
this explosion at sea
just
is
a
called
little
a shock
mountain,
trial.
and then
the Navy's setting off a
explodes.
10,000-pound bomb under the water to make sure a ship can take the concussion and stress. The Navy says they're typically done in the...
Is that the one there that you were talking about?
No, it looked similar to that.
All right.
I think that was the report before the Navy.
Right. Okay, so we've got a 40,000 pound. That was a 10,000 pound. Turn that off.
Yeah, so the 10,000 pound one was one that was like stock footage that they showed before the Navy released the actual footage.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll check this one out real quick. Okay. All right. But anyways, yeah, so
yeah, this is it.
They're testing out some big old bombs. 40,000. Oh. Do you see how it... Okay, for those just listening, it's like the water turns white in a circle on there. It's blue and then it just turns white. And then a big old, geyser of water and an explosion. That's pretty wild. That is
Yeah, it actually created an earthquake on land.
really
3.9.
Holy cow. And man.
So I think that goes into, it seems like things are heating up everywhere.
Well, and obviously we've got some arguments with China going on, has been for a while, and China's making some loose threats, and we're making loose threats back. China's, you know, they're poised to take over the dominant currency of the world and the kind of the dominant everything else. That's what they're trying to achieve. And I mean, we could go deep into it. Did the latest pandemic have something to do with that? Was there either a use of that being played out for that, or
Right.
was it all released? I mean, those conspiracy theories are out there. And then, back into that pandemic thing, that Daszak guy, Daszak,
Yeah.
he runs that Eco Health Alliance. Remember how the Google was how all these IT companies, the big media ones, were censoring everyone?
Uh-huh.
Well, the reports come out that Google was giving money to them, not just Fauci. So maybe there was a little bit of a conflict of interest there, and Google had to censor that so that they didn't get wrapped up in it. But it's coming out. So
It's interesting to me that every single major media group has a board member that also is in pharmaceutical as well.
yeah, at least one board member that shares board membership with pharmaceutical companies, which
Yeah.
could be why the alternative, or not alternative, the long-standing medicines that were thought to help were censored on.
Yeah, there's lots of
across
money
the
to be
board.
made. Lots of money to be made. And now Fauci's group has actually, patented a treatment for coronavirus as well, which is interesting because ivermectin performs very well and hydroxychloroquine performs very well, but they've cut those out and made them almost impossible to get, all the while developing a drug for treatment.
Yeah, it's funny.
Huge conflicts of interest.
A lot of money to be made, but Tim says regulations are highly profitable. Yes, they are. Now, hello, James. Now, Tim is a buddy of mine from New York. I heard about and then looked up a study. Do you know what the average regulatory cost to building a house is? Any house. Just
I'm sure it's
government regulatory cost.
It's ridiculous.
Give me a guess.
I would say probably 10,000.
You're not even in the ballpark.
Oh.
$94,000 is the average regulatory cost across the nation. Tim is from New York. He says 32,000 and
94,000.
$94,000. So then when people say, how come I can't get a house built? And let's go with Tim's number, 32,000. 94 is what I think it was Forbes had reported in their paper. It's the average cost. It might be lower here, might be more expensive elsewhere. California might, be insane. But what if you had to add $32,000 to every home loan? What does that make the home loans look like? So if you have a house that you're guessing is going to be a $150,000 house, suddenly $182,000 house. So, and then that goes along with all these big mutual funds or financial groups that are buying up all the houses now for above asking price. There's something building. I don't know what, but Yeah. And banks love regulations too. That's what Tim says. Yes. Oh, of course they do. Every big business loves regulations. And this is for my other show. We're going knee deep into politics because regulations stop competition. So everyone loves it. It's a government enforced monopoly. So they love regulations. All big businesses do. I've got a show brewing in the works right now about meat. And
Yeah.
so we're going to dig into that one. And I think this show would have to be one that I cover on both of our shows because it kind of reaches into both. But anyway, so yeah. But I don't know. $94,000 though. That's what they said in Forbes. Shall we chat about Britney Spears for a minute?
Oh, her conservatorship. Now,
Okay.
I've been following the Save Britney Spears movement for several years. And there's people have been watching her every movement, and they've been asking her to send secret hand signals. She got a platform on TikTok.
Yeah, she was doing dances on there.
So she would post a video, and then in the video they would say, have a yellow flower in your next video if you need help. And in her next video, she would have a yellow flower. And so people really started digging into the conservatorship. So her dad was given conservatorship like 12 years ago.
Yeah, it was in 2005.
Yeah. And a conservatorship is interesting because they've basically deemed you incompetent.
Yeah, this conservator now, okay, it could probably come in all levels, but this one is he controls her movements and controls her medication, her ability,
all of her money.
Yeah.
Where she lives. She's not been allowed to drive. She's not been allowed to leave her home. She's not been allowed to have people over.
Here's the crazy thing. Okay. If he got that conservatorship and kept her locked up because she shaved her head or whatever, I could understand that. But since then, she has done concerts. So that means he has signed her up for concerts so that he can make more money.
Yeah, he's worked her.
To me, it sounds more like she's an indentured servant.
Yeah.
And, I mean, let's not forget her father signed her up for the Disney Treehouse. What's it called? Disney something? Mickey's
Club or whatever, the Disney Club.
Yeah, he signed her up for that when she was young. She was stuck in that. She ran that rat race. I'm sure she witnessed a lot of things there that was negative for a child to witness. And so, I don't know. It's
and she's been kept so far away from having access to, even basic. She wasn't allowed to even research whether or not she could end the Mickey Mouse Club. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Tim. Well, yeah.
She didn't even know that she could request to end her conservatorship.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just that. They forced her on birth control. It's the birth control they forced her
IUD.
On? Yeah, they
wouldn't let her take her IUD out.
They forced it into her. I mean, is that, I don't know. Where do you start crossing lines on a conservative? I think the minute he made her or had her give concerts, I think right there that entered a space where she was a financial slave for him.
He was a servant.
Yeah. Like he was.
Yeah. Now this has been to court. This has been under review two times, which makes me wonder what is his spin on this, because both times the judge, who was the same judge in awarding the conservatorship and then maintaining it, both of those times, has decided not to review it both of those times.
Maybe that judge should have his financial records opened up then.
Yeah, because you got to wonder, what is Britney Spears' dad's spin on things. And
Yeah, is he paying off doctors to come in and say, well, that's what's that lady's name that Tim says judges. Yes. What's that lady's name? Why do I not know any movie stars? The lady that came out against the Weinstein guy. She shaved her head too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't remember her name. Singer. I know who you're talking about.
She was an actress. She was on oh good. This is gonna be a show of Jared pondering what he's pondering. Son of a bee. Anyways.
I think in Britney's case,
But she went on Tucker. She went on Tucker Carlson the other night and called it out, which is pretty wild. And she made a good point. You know, what is it that he can send her out on concerts? How can that be done? And she seems to think that he paid off the legal system and the medical system to get that review done.
It looks like it, because she's clearly capable of, I mean, a concert schedule is strenuous. Well, even for those who are in extremely good health. She's dancing, she's singing, she's sweating hard, she's doing all of the things. That's real hard work. Well, and if she's capable of those, how is she not capable of just driving a car?
Well, how do you know what, driving the car, fine, but how is it that you can give control of her over to someone else, and then that someone else has her go out and work to earn money, and you can look at that as legitimate ever in any circumstance?
Yeah.
How can that be done? That is a situation where you've taken control of someone's life, yet you still work them. I mean, she has no freedom to control whether she works or not. She may want to do the concerts, that's fine, but they've given control over to someone else to allow them. At the very least, I think if conservatorship is done and any of these things pop up, they say, okay, we're going to do a conservatorship review. Rose McGowan, that's her name. Thank you.
Yes.
Tim. Man, Tim, you need to just come do the show. I'll sit here and talk. Tim knows what. I'll just announce a subject. Tim will say all the stuff. Anyways, so that's where I think she should be turned over to someone who's impartial, first of all, someone who, a lawyer that's outside of the system. Honestly, it should be a lawyer that's outside of that particular judicial area, that district.
I think conservatorship should be reserved for people who truly cannot take care of themselves.
And she may not,
because it's okay to be crazy. No, she was just a little crazy.
Well, I mean, what if she was doing stuff like harming herself? I mean, we only know what we saw. And so there
what
may
if she
be a reason for
was?
that.
What if she was?
I think the minute her dad, and I shouldn't say this because maybe she wanted to do it and her dad finally relented, but we should know, or the courts at least. I'm not saying particularly you need to tell me because she's not a public person, but maybe she hounded her dad day after day. I want to do a concert. I want to do a concert. I want to do a concert. And her dad's finally like, okay, all right, let me call around. I'll find you a place to do it. But what if her dad's like, hey, guess what you get to do? Because our bank account's getting a little lean.
Yeah. I think that if people are harming themselves, I still don't think that warrants conservatorship. I think that's an overreach.
You're probably right. And I think, honestly, every public official, anytime your paycheck comes from the public, I'm talking from the secretary at the cop shop up, I think that your financial records need to be public.
Wide open. Yep. Every month. Full world to see.
We may not ever come look at them, but they should be open. And I think.
But we should be able to.
Yeah. And I think politicians, we should be looking at those. It needs to happen. Politicians, there's some shady stuff going on there. But yeah, Britney Spears, I'm on board with the free Britney train. You know?
Yeah. I've been following it now for several years. There was a documentary done. It's kind of creepy to watch because they interview her and you can tell that she's never been allowed to just speak freely. Everything has to be scripted and read directly from the script. And in the few moments during the documentary where she does kind of slip off the script, she's corrected almost immediately. Like,
Is
her
that
hair color is chosen for her, her hair length is chosen for her clothing are chosen for her.
that movie I Care a Lot?
That might be what it's called.
Tim asked if we see the Netflix movie I Care a Lot. I haven't seen it yet, Tim. If I don't know what it's about, maybe it's about an entire legal industry that takes conservatorship
Yes.
older folks and screws them out of it. Yeah, that's
yes.
I mean, we need to look into that. And honestly, I think if you're a vampire on people, I think if you're just a vampire, I've got no sympathy if they want to find the biggest, meanest guy and throw you in jail with them.
Yeah.
Or worse, and we'll let everyone else use their imagination for what worse means. But
And outside of her conservatorship, her children have been removed from her and have had zero to very little contact with her. I mean, they've destroyed an entire family unit, which I just can't wrap my head around.
And I think if he put her, if what Rose McGowan says about the Hollywood system is true, and he put her in that and didn't stand by and protect her, I think he's completely at fault for everything bad that happened to her.
100%.
I mean,
she was very young, and she has, even in the little moments where you can kind of see some clarity, she has a very childlike mentality, and you see that very commonly with those that have had to grow up in those circles, is they have this stunted growth.
Anyone who's forced into adulthood in any aspect young, such as molestation, such as violence, that stunts them usually, at least in a couple areas of their life, a couple aspects of their character in that stage. And that's
arrested development. And that's you can definitely see it with her. She's got a boyfriend now. She wants to kind of move on with her life.
She's got a boyfriend?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think there's been people in certain camps say he's bad for her. He's obviously part of all of this because he's been allowed to be there.
He might be. He may be
kind of in a way to control her.
Yeah.
Or there's another thought process that's how it started with him, and now he would like control of her money. So he's helping her to break free of her dad so that he can have more control of her money.
He's going to break free, and then he's going to go get a conservatorship, and she's just, I don't know. We'll have to watch this play out.
What she needs is a damn good friend who she can break free from all of that. She can disappear for a couple of years and will actually give her good guidance. That's what she needs.
Yeah. I mean, where could she go that she could live anonymously for a minute?
Yeah.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on it for sure.
Yeah. It is wild stuff. It really, really is.
Did you hear about the energy crisis in California?
Oh, that you can't charge
your car?
Electric cars?
Yeah, they are pushing to have everyone in electric cars by 2025. And then it was announced that they would like you to save the power grid and not charge your electric car. I would be so pissed.
What is it going to look like in another 20 years I shouldn't say when, but if New York and LA and a couple of those bigger, really blue cities look like Detroit?
Yeah.
If we
and there are so many people walking away from their electric cars
Oh
because
yeah.
it takes 4 hours to charge it and you can go 30 miles.
Well, yeah, the electric car, that's, I mean, it's a big to do. And I'm not against them. I do think it's the future. I want them to keep driving towards that technology, but I don't know if forcing um, internal combustion engine cars are the way through that. I think we need to have a blend and then move into it.
I think our technology needs to be um, demonetized because I think a lot of the technology is built to keep feeding money into new technology
Well,
instead of being built as because it's just good.
uh, well, I maybe demonetized is the opposite way. I say we unregulate technology. We do away with intellectual property. We let people take someone else's idea and improve it. I mean,
Yeah,
we've got
maybe.
to explode liberty onto the world if we keep trying to control. Imagine if the government took over your cell phone 10 years ago. What would your cell phone look like? Granted,
Yeah,
the Nokia was damn indestructible, but the only game it
that's
had
true.
was that snake game.
That
And that's
nobody
where
knew
we'd
how to
be.
play well.
That's where we would be. Snake
Yeah.
game. We would be watching Twitch snake game competitions. That would be enthralling.
Another thing happening today, Officer Chauvin is being sentenced today.
Yeah, he is. He is. Have to see how that pans out. I don't know. My opinions on that jump back and forth day to day.
Me too. Me
So
too.
don't even want to talk about it. I want to talk about our friends down in Florida. So in Miami, there was the Florida condo collapse, and
Yeah.
gosh, what did it say? Something like 150 people, 120 people, um, accounted for from the building, and 159 people unaccounted for. That is,
That's huge.
that's rough. 159 souls gone, just right then and there.
What happened? Did they say?
Well, let's go
Is it
through it.
still under
And
investigation?
I'm sure it's still under investigation. This one's mostly about the survivors, and they're using rescue dogs. They're using like sound detecting equipment to try to. Right now, it's all rescue mode, which I agree with. We need to concentrate on finding the people or recovering.
Yeah. Yeah. There'll be plenty of time for
Um,
figuring out what
and it could
happens
be an
later.
old building. It could be anything, any of the above. But man, that is a sad story. A condominium that houses 400 people or so just collapses. That's
Terrible.
tough. That is tough. Okay, time for the fun story.
Now that we've made our way through the muck.
The U.S. Air Force is entering a robotic future.
Oh.
I'm telling you, I've seen all the documentaries. I saw that documentary Terminator, all of its
iRobot.
after doc. Yeah, iRobot. I saw that those that documentary, um, triage Matrix. I saw, some old black and white documentaries about this. Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida is the first base to deploy robotic patrol dogs.
I
Huh?
can't. I can't.
It's coming.
That's terrifying. A real life German Shepherd is scary. A robotic dog would give me PTSD.
Mm-mm. Betsy.
You cannot relate. I mean, it's hard enough to relate human to canine, but when you put robotics into it, there's no emotion.
Uh, we're going
There's
down.
no emotion. They're
There's
not, if you fall down and start crying, they're not going to recognize that you're crying.
And you don't know which is the front or the back.
And you can't tell if it's coming or going.
Yeah. Semi-autonomous robots tested by the Australian Army are being picked up by the U.S. Air Force. So for those just listening, the robot looks like it's about 2 feet tall, about 3.5, 4 feet long.
Straight out of your nightmare.
4 legs, probably a red eye. All of the trappings. I mean, how long until they mount bombs on them and they just march in up, or they have a gun on their back, or knives or something else.
It's terrifying.
Well, over the past 5 years, robotic dogs have gone viral in captivating online videos showing them opening doors, swimming acrobatics, hauling trucks, and pulling other stunts in the pandemic era. They've been used to promote social distancing and reduce risk to medical staff hospitals. Where was it? It was somewhere in Europe. They had these dogs with speakers on them, and it'd run around and yell at people if they stood too close.
They open doors. You cannot glass over the fact that this dog can open doors.
It's over, Betsy. We've got to, I don't know, chew a lot of bubble gum, throw it on the floor, so hopefully they get a foot stuck. I don't know what to do. Ball bearings, a lot of ball bearings.
Oh my gosh.
Massachusetts-based Boston Dynamics was behind most of these examples, but another company is revolutionizing, what robotic versions of a man's best friend can do, and it says its latest creation might be ready for war.
Jared.
In January, Defense Department contractor Ghost Robotics will be unleashing 4 of its semi-autonomous robots at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida in what could be a step forward, introducing robot dogs into conflict zones. Okay, we got a quick video. Let's see what the robot dog will do.
Next is robot spiders.
Of course, there's a commercial. God,
we've had birds for a long time.
When will we get past having a commercial on every step that you do? Or let's go for it. I should have commercials on my shoes.
Look at those.
Okay, so we're looking at these robot dogs. There's 2 of them. Like, one of them is amped up, looking around. They kind of, their camera doesn't look like it's motionary, but they can swivel and look around. They've got a little red thing on their tail, so it kind of looks like a cat's rear end. They should really put a little gem on that. But oh my, I mean, what? Look, it runs, it moves fast.
Okay, so I want next technology to be a self-defense device that if you push a button, it messes with all of the electronics in these robot dogs and shuts them down. Instead of a taser, I want a robot, it rolls over.
Yep.
I want a robot dog defense device.
Fido rolls over, folks. Not only does Fido roll over, but Fido is upside down and stands back up. And now his little cat
things in the front
is on the front or in the bottom. I don't know what to think about all that. I don't know. Ryan says the Nokia also had Tetris. Yeah, okay.
He's like, don't knock my Nokia. It had Tetris.
He says Skynet is becoming a reality. You're not kidding. All those documentaries, all of them.
All of them. What if they were foreshadowing? They were desensitizing us to the future.
It was Baron Trump in his time travels coming back and making movies.
If you haven't read The Marvelous Travels of Baron Trump, you should, because it was written a really, really long ass time ago, and it's insanely accurate. I would have to say I am seriously in the camp of people know things are going to happen before they happen.
You know, I'm kind of with you on that.
But I can't do Robot Dog. I can't do Robot Dog because
yeah.
Robot Dog leads way to robot other end. What about a robot snake? What if a robot snake suddenly slithers into your toilet pipe one day, pops up in your bathroom? Like I can't do robot animals.
It's wrapped around just under the rim so you can't see it.
I mean, I can't. Robot spiders, robot birds. I mean, I can't.
That is terrifying.
I don't want to live in a world with robot animals.
That to have a robot, just, you know how there's that little lip under the lid, the place that's hard to scrub. Oh.
And why did they choose to make it have 4 legs? I'm to impersonate a dog. They could have created a robot cyborg something that didn't resemble any animals. It's like they want to put you off kill. Come here, puppy. Oh shit, it's a robot. I don't like any of it.
Oh, it's coming.
I know
Coming down on us. What do we do now? What do we?
I'm telling you, developers, I want you to create a defense mechanism for all the robot technology that sends out a wave of some kind that decimates. I know you can do it. I have faith in you. That just shuts down any robotic activity around me.
We need all the ball bearings.
Jared's deploying ball bearings.
I'm telling you, be careful when you come to my house. It'll slip you up too.
Yeah. Scary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, show's closing up. It's getting interesting. Everything is. And maybe that's just life. You know, maybe 70 years ago. Oh, but yeah. Seems like the world's going mad. Did you see those parents getting arrested in Virginia for going to they went to the, what do you call it, parent teacher meeting? Is that what it's called?
No, I didn't see that.
The school district meeting, whatever. They went there and was arguing with the school district and got arrested. Now, I thought that was a public affair, but apparently, unless you say what they want you to say, it is not. And that's scary too, that the police would come and arrest them.
Wow.
So, yeah, stuff's getting crazy. The video's up. I do believe that parents in a local area should be able to say what their children are taught. I think we might start losing. I mean, schools are going to start losing kids, and then they're going
So there was somewhat of a mass exodus at the beginning of the pandemic. I know I was part of that. I know lots of people who were part of that. And what we're finding now, as there's a new outreach program from the school district where I live, they're trying to understand why you left. They're trying to understand why you're hesitant to sign your kids back up. We have to understand that these are funded by way of head count.
Yeah.
So,
schools will, once schools lose enough kids, they will lose funding. Now,
so our district actually lost funding for this next year.
Did you tell them
because of everyone leaving?
Did you tell them I was okay with a minimum security kid prison, but once you made it a maximum security kid prison, and you had the hovering cost of fines over my head if my 10-year-old pulled his mask down.
Right.
You had what was it, a $5,000 possible fine if a 10-year-old pulled their mask off of over their nose. The mom could get a $5,000 fine. No, thank you. No, thank
Yeah.
you. I wouldn't expect me as a parent to be able to control my child that much. Two, I'm not going to put him somewhere where one, he gets a whole bunch of ridicule. You're already teaching him some stuff that's questionable historically. And then on top of that, you have that sword of Damocles hanging over my head of a $5,000 fine if a 10-year-old, who is the bumhole who thought of that fine? Who is the jerk face? When they could have said, you know what, we're going to spend $1,000 and put a poster reminding the child through a funny or enthralling cartoon in every classroom. No, we're going to put a fine over mommy's and daddy's head in a year when everyone is getting tore up financially. No, I'm
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is why I have the stance I have that the government needs to go.
I responded with I appreciate them calling, and that I would like to go on record with a well thought out letter to the district versus a knee jerk, question answered over the telephone. And so I've got their address. My response will include all of that. That I believe that the way time is spent in school should be academically, and
Sure.
all of these social things are not things that I want taught to my children. And as far as last year went, it was a prison.
It went to a max. It's always been a prison, but it went to a maximum security.
Right. I mean, they weren't even allowed to sit next to anybody at lunch.
Yeah,
They
just
weren't allowed to have recess.
yeah, it was less than maximum security prison. At least in prison, they can play bones after lunch in the common
Yeah.
room. And I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something has gone wrong. Something has gone rotten. Ryan says, have you seen the concept of the mini drone with shaped explosives on them? They're about the size of a small bird and they literally fly into a person and explode on impact. Crazy stuff.
No.
You know what, Ryan? I was going to be able to sleep tonight.
I'm going to be watching the skies. No.
I was going to be able to sleep tonight.
They've got to stop. This has to stop, because this doesn't stop.
John Connor.
It just keeps marching forward.
Do you think Tim O'Connor would be okay with changing his name?
So how do you, as a society, maintain no government control while still trying to manage the fact that people can create tiny flying apparatus that have death charge on them to suicide bomb you?
One thing is, I think without governments, war would go away because war is expensive.
Yeah.
War is extremely expensive. So you might see skirmish, but you'll never see war. Anyways, Ryan says, oops, my bad. Yes, you're bad, Ryan. Have you seen the ones that deliver flowers to your best friends? No, went right to the bomb. Anyway, we've got to make it more profitable for good things to happen than for bad things to happen. And that's one of the issues with our government, is because we became, as Eisenhower said, a military industrial complex. Our economy has a disproportionate amount of it dedicated towards war.
Yeah.
They call it defense, but it's dedicated towards war. And that's just like, what was it, 2 years ago? The U.S. Army came and said, no more M1 Abrams. We have too many of them. Hell, we got half of them parked over here. We got, too many. We don't need any more M1 Abrams. Well, what they did, because some of the defense industry that makes the M1 Abrams or parts thereof lie in certain senators or Congress people's districts. So the U.S. Army had, I think it was, 330 at the cost of $400,000 a pop, or probably more than that. I'll bet an Abrams costs $2 million. I'll bet if I looked it up, it would be between $1 and $2 million. But they had these delivered when the Army said, no, we don't want any more of these. We need something different. We need different stuff. Well, here, you're going to take these anyway because, this is my district and this is how they live. I'm still all about, I think we need to force Boeing. Oh, lost Betsy. Anyways, for those of you still listening, Betsy might get back on, might not. But I think we need to force Boeing, Raytheon,
Betsy joined.
all those places. I think we need to say, you guys need to, over the next 10 years, convert yourselves away from weapons of war.
Absolutely.
That's the way we need to go. We need to say, Boeing, remember the Jetsons? I'd like to see a flying car. Raytheon, remember, I would like to see a one of those machines off Star Trek that makes a turkey dinner and it looks like a microwave. Whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But apply to that. I want to see, General Electric make more fridges and shit. You don't need to make those, turbine engines anymore. It's kind of what I want to see happen. And that way people don't lose their jobs. The businesses carry on. We can start moving away from a war footing as a nation, and maybe they'll be able to cut our taxes because then they'll be making products that the average person buys, not a government buys to stockpile because, as a senator, I'm calling you out, Feinstein. I think she's got a big Boeing plant, Raytheon, and a General Electric, and all the others, all in her district. And she, every time, forces the military spending. And I don't care what party you're in, whatever. If that's the perverse incentive in your area, we got issues. Anyways, that's the show for me. What do you got, Betsy?
That's it for me.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Have a great week, guys.
Yeah. Have a great week. I'm just got high hopes that all 150 people that they find in Florida are all alive and healthy. And, honestly, that's a tragedy. And
Prayers are with them.
Yeah. And I hope the UFO thing comes out.
And if I ever come across a robot dog, I'm going to run it over with my car unapologetically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it'll kill your car. I am going to get ball bearings. I'm going to start stockpiling them. I need to find a mass-produced ball bearing, something cheap, so I can buy all of them. I'm telling you, there's going to be like a circle of ball bearings around my house. The kids will be walking by on the side. Then they'll just go sliding by on a sea of ball bearings. But yeah, and I hope the alien thing comes out and they say, yeah, we know Gleep Glorp. We've been hanging out with him forever. Yeah, that'd be cool. All right. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Hope so.
Sorry about this impromptu show. We'll
have a great week.
Go up again later, but Betsy is needed at her house today. Got the flood in effect. And, is what it is. Have a good week.